greatest thing you'll ever learn. Hello, everybody. So today I'm going to do the Daily Farmer's Almanac. A little different. I'm going to pick a Words of Fate Oracle card, and then I'm going to see what the calendar says for today. I'm feeling better than I was last night. I woke up at the first time I opened my eyes, it was like the sun was coming in super bright through the window. I was like, ugh. I had a dream last night. I saw Russ, and he was talking about something that I was not in the mood to listen to. And there was one point where he was like giving everybody notes or something. And then I looked on mine, and it said something, and then I was still like sulky for a minute. And I was like, ugh. And then when I was in the mood to like read it, it said something else, and then it disappeared. I was like, man, I should have read it. Boundaries. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is the Revolutionary. So I was like, yesterday, yeah, I was like, oh, like I just finished watching the Neptune Sound Healing Part 2, and like Russ is such a beautiful soul, and Matthias is such a beautiful soul. Like I wish I was a beautiful soul. And then I'll be like, I miss the water in my chart. It's so fiery and airy. And then when I have any feelings, I'm like, ew, no, this is too much. No, no, thank you. No, thanks. Please. Like, and I used to be, I don't even know if you can hear me. I'm sure you can. I used to be a lot more sensitive when I was little, right? So, like, things about the world would really upset me or affect me more. And I still care, but like, to be personally like saddened and just like ill. And the dream I had, in the dream, the emotions were a lot heavier. After I woke up, they were fine. And so now I'm like, maybe I should just get over it, question mark. But also I'm like, I feel like for me to work for a company like that right now would feel like I'm like compromising my integrity or my morals. And then I was like, is this what it means to have like my natal Jupiter in Libra retrograde? Like I'll get opportunities, but then I'll pass them up because I'm like, no, like my integrity, my morals, my ethics, like this. What about the people that it impacts, and like, like, or maybe I could just take the opportunity and get money and sell out like everybody else does. It's fine. So after I read this, Boundaries and the Revolutionary. But then also before I went to sleep last night, it came back to me. It was like, allow the world to be rewritten. And it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? That things will change and that they won't always be this different. That they won't always be this bad. Where can you see it? Ow! Ooh! I just scratched myself. Oh, it's an armadillo. An armadillo and some crystals. I was like, what is this? Boundaries can be a difficult thing to master. Most people are not raised with a firm understanding of healthy boundaries and either end up being closed off or allow themselves to be invaded / they become invading of others. It requires balance and knowing exactly what your needs are. This card asks you to check in with yourself and see where you live on the boundary spectrum. Do you have a healthy relationship with them? Do you struggle in communicating around them? Are there any patterns that continue to crop up around boundaries in your life? Exercise. Sit for a minute and allow your body to relax. Begin scanning your body with boundaries in mind. Where do you feel invaded? What lives there? Are there any places in your body that are calling your attention and asking for more empowered boundaries? Then check in with your throat and heart. Is there anything it wants to communicate around boundaries? The armadillo, name meaning little armored one, is known for its hard armor on its backside. Its potent medicine is in teaching us how to set a container for our desired or not desired experiences. If we already have an idea of what we do not want in our life, we can set the boundaries to prevent it from entering. The underside of the armadillo is soft and vulnerable, which is how we should also go through life. Open hearted and vulnerable, but able to protect ourselves if needed. Call upon armadillo to find this balance. Yarrow's botanical name is Achillea mellifolium, like Achilles? Yeah, and is named after the Greek hero Achilles. The myth has it that Achilles was made invulnerable because Yarrow was floating in the river his mother dipped him in as a child. She held him by the ankle, so his Achilles was not covered in the elixir, making it his weak spot, aka Achilles' heel. Yarrow has long been referred to as an herb of invulnerability. It can teach us healthy boundaries, but it is especially helpful as an ally for those that are sensitive to other people's energies. Call on it if you need support in protecting yourself from unconsciously absorbing energies from other people or your environment. Timely now. Black tourmaline is a protector, grounder, and a cleanser all in one. It is known to transform dense energy into a lighter vibration, ground spiritual energy, and can be used to form a protective shield around your body. Some people may have opinions about any changes you make. And if you are working on being more open, others may take advantage of that openness. Use black tourmaline to cleanse and protect you from unwanted energy from those around you. You can also use black tourmaline to aid you in maintaining the boundaries you have already set. Okay. And now this card is like literally, oops, well, it was stuck to my hand. Under the revolutionary is get creative. So it's interesting. I thought boundaries were going to talk about something else. And I guess I did also have that thought. Ooh, and Ascension. So we have the revolutionary, get creative, and Ascension at the bottom of the deck. And reflect under it, Ascension. Um, and I was like, well, I have to be open. I can't walk around not open, but anytime I open up, any, I'm like, ew, what is this? What are feelings? And I'm like, I'm a Taurus, moon and rising. And it's not that Tauruses don't have feelings. I'm me, okay? I just don't. I like feelings until I have feelings, and then I don't like feelings. And then I'm like, ew, why am I feeling this? Can I not? And I need to not be like that. So I'll take that as for me and everything that I guess I'm going through right now. And if it relates, if you relate, then you may take it as well, of course. So for today, for the more broader general collective, or just, for whatever I'm meant to do today, let's get like one card. That would be gorgeous. Oh, I smell the grass coming in through the window. And I feel fairly like energetic. I don't feel that tired for the amount of sleep that I didn't really good. And I thought it was later when I woke up than what it was, but it was like 8 something. I was like 8 something. I was up until like 3 at least. Okay. Oh, I feel the wheelsies trying to come in. I feel the woozies. Feel the woozies. There we go. Bottom of the deck is Fate. I've been seeing this card a lot lately. There you go. What's in there? Oh, there you go. Ooh, gorgeous, shiny. There's that cosmic chestnut on a satin pillow. So 2 cards came out. Get creative and Ascension. So, and the cards that were beneath the Revolutionary before. Get creative and Ascension came out. And they both have wings. And Fate is at the bottom of the deck. Now, where Get Creative and Ascension has wings, Fate has, looks like crystals and some kind of plant. Hold up. There you go. All right. So I'm going to read these from the book. And then we're going to see what's happening. Get Creative has a flower with wings and this sort of cloud and like those stars and stuff. Ascension, I'm looking at the wings, but I'm also looking at the threads on the hand. And it feels almost Icarus. Like these wings are attached, like through some kind of string, right? So they're not necessarily biological. Or it could just be like a harness. Like I saw the thing for like a back thing to keep your posture right. What is wing posture? Can you like maintain posture and fly? I'm pretty sure that is not correct. Fly posture. So Get Creative is on page 80. Boundaries was on page 24. That was a 6. This is an 8. And Ascension is on page 90. So, Get Creative. I am not going to hold this. Well, I'll hold it like this. If you can see it, then excellent. So, Get Creative. To be human is to be creative, but it is easy to lose sight of this. From a young age, we absorb cultural stigma around the arts and creativity. That is impractical. That it is impractical and should take a backseat to more lucrative pursuits. But the truth is, creativity brings flow to our life. It finds openings. Without a creative practice, we can only find ourselves stuck as uninspired. And there are so many ways to be creative. You may feel called to rearrange your living space or write or take pictures. All of these things are great. Creativity is a way of life, not an activity. This card is asking you to look around and see what things inspire you. What do you feel called to create or transform? Think outside the box. The crow teaches us how to approach our current life with a creative edge. They have an incredibly keen eye for problem solving and using innovative ways to meet their needs. They have been known to make their own tools and use the world around them to their advantage. For example, dropping a nut in the road so it will get ran over and cracked open when it proved too hard for their beak. I feel like I was going to say something, but I don't know. I feel like that made me think of something, but I don't know what it is. Maybe you are not feeling inspired to tackle new projects. That's fine. Call upon Crow as an ally in meeting your current life with an inventive outlook. Sorry. The iris teaches us how to use our feelings as a gateway to artistic expression. They come in all colors of the rainbow spectrum and often look like they have been painted themselves. They often serve as a portal to our creative selves through channeling divine inspiration. Iris is especially helpful if you are stuck in a routine and can't seem to find beauty in the unexpected. Call upon Iris if you need assistance in restoring vibrancy to your life. Orange calcite is like a ray of sunshine that can pierce through all stagnancy and reinvigorate our passion for life. It is helpful when we have childhood wounds around creativity, but can also support creatives who have reached a block in their projects. Call upon orange calcite when you have limiting beliefs or ingrained patterns that hold you back from your creative potential. Oh gosh, these cards keep sticking to my hand. Is that trust? Oh, manifest. Fate and manifest are at the bottom of the deck. Manifest your destiny, but not in a weird way like what they did back in the day, Not that old manifest destiny stuff. Just to clarify, not trying to bring more of that into the world. Ascension. Let's see if I can position this so I can read it. It gets a little weird in the corners. There we go. Or I can put it over here. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Now I'm looking over here. Oops. There we go. Ascension. This card is a testament to all of the work you have done. It is a nod from the universe that your efforts are seen and are being rewarded. Things are moving forward and you will continue to progress. You will continue to progress. Yeah. You will continue to progress and reach a higher state of consciousness as well as earthly success. This card can also be encouraging you to deepen your spiritual practices and work toward an I can't read today. I'm gonna slow down and try again. This card can also be encouraging you to deepen your spiritual practices and work toward alignment with the highest codes of your being. Life is all about moving and reaching our true potential. You are well on your way. Keep going. On the flip side, this card can also indicate an imbalance around your spiritual practice. Sometimes we can become completely reliant on all things spiritual and may ignore the earthly plane and real issues. This is referred to as spiritual bypassing. Another form this takes is continuing to focus on clearing and up leveling, but not integrating. It can become an addiction and all about moving on to the next thing. And we think it's okay because it's spiritual in nature, but in reality, it can be disempowering. If this resonates with you, work on grounding yourself and perhaps slow down. And then we have fate at the bottom of the deck. Now let's see what the thing is for May 20th. When baking cookies with one cookie sheet, cool it to room temperature between batches. Otherwise, any butter in the batter may melt prematurely and cause thin, uneven cookies. So, yeah. Oh, keep cool. Keep cool at the top. So, I think it is carrying a little bit of the energy of like slow down, right? It's almost like allow the world to catch up to you a little bit. Maybe this is for me, or if it resonates for you, then it's for you too. I need these as well, or like these, or want these. Because I think a lot of times personally, I tried not to spiritually bypass, as I'm sure we all do, but I can be really like working, 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 working. And maybe it's like sometimes I just need to slow down, enjoy life, and allow things to sort of unfold a bit. Allow things to happen, allow things to transpire. Um, Also, with Get Creative and Fate with Ascension, I know last night I talked about not really wanting to like make my spirituality a business or use my spirituality in business outside of being a spiritual person in a business setting. I talked about wanting a more traditional and conventional 9 to 5 because I don't know, I like that. Like I'm attracted to that. Um, but maybe it could be an energy of like, hey, girl, like things change. Be open. And maybe that could be this get creative with Ascension. No, it could be. So if that resonates for you, then there's a message in that, right? With Get Creative, Ascension, and Fate, this actually reminds me of the ISK one when it came to closer to, I guess, the Keeper. Because for the initiate, it's like you get triggered by some cataclysmic happening, and then this happens. For the seeker, it was you get triggered by some cataclysmic happening, and while you're triggered by this cataclysmic happening, it's important that you sort of like don't let your faith waver too much, and then like this happens. But for the seeker, or for the keeper, it was divine yang. And divine yang, I'm actually going to read it because I don't know if I fully remember and I don't want to misquote it. So it was double lightning, or double thunder, and then double heaven at the top for the keeper. I just rearranged everything on my phone again. So now that I've moved everything on my phone, of course, I'm going to remember where I had it before. And then after the divine yang, it was lake over mountain, I think. Actually, let me see. Yeah, it was lake over mountain attraction. So for the keeper, it came out with creative power and attraction. I'm actually going to read both of them. And I'm reading this from the book of maps that Benabel Wynn included with the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. Ruling a splendorous kingdom, bestowed with the graces of heaven, and furthering the endeavor toward greatness. I didn't even catch that because the endeavor kept popping up as well. So from like, I read from the keeper down to the initiate, but I noticed it more in the keeper. It was like it's like retreat with the end. Like a retreat is not. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure I remember exactly what was with the keeper. It was the erudite and the keeper. Yeah, heaven over the mountain. Um, it was like just because you read or just because you retreat doesn't mean you're giving up. Like you will continue this endeavor, but take a step back for now, work things to a standstill, and then move forward. And then on the other side, it was like it is auspicious to it's like seek wise counsel before you continue on this endeavor. And it was this energy of like if your endeavor sort of benefits more people than just you, I believe, then like it's auspicious to continue forward with your endeavor. Like the endeavor kept popping up, and I didn't even catch it up here. Ruling a splendorous kingdom, bestowed with the graces of heaven and furthering the endeavor toward greatness. You are a pioneer. You wield both creativity and perseverance. Take pause before you proceed on your endeavor. Do not act on impulse. Instead, be receptive to the directive power of heaven over you. You want to be assured of your course of action before you proceed. Once you are assured of your course of action, act swiftly, firmly, and with conviction. Sublime success shall be yours. And then 31. it was the erudite and the keeper. 17, 18, 19, 20, 27, 31. 31 is attraction, influence, and chemistry. Receive others with humility and non-judgment. Let the people move you, and you will move the people. Reciprocal attraction, mutual influence. Young lovers are joyous and prosperous. It is auspicious for you to proceed with your endeavor. Change is coming, though no one seems to sense it. The beginnings of movement, an idea begins to surface. However, whether the influence will have an impact remains to be seen. It is too early to tell. And so it was like, again, with the initiate and the keeper, there was this cataclysmic happening, and then something results. But with the initiate and the seeker, I feel like I confuse the seeker and the keeper all the time. With the initiate and the seeker. Now, the initiate is the green man, it's the fresh fool. The seeker is the fool who's it's not their first rodeo, but they're not yet a rodeo master, so they still need some like advice or some help from time to time. And it's all about the fool's journey through the major arcana. So the initiate is like starting at the magician, the seeker is somewhere in the middle. The keeper has made its way from the magician all the way to the world and has integrated and incorporated something at every step of the way. It's the enlightened fool. Um, and the keeper was the one, like, it didn't have this cataclysmic happening. The keeper, it was that sort of like creative power that flowed into attraction. And the cards that came out, it was the Three of Swords and the Magician for creative power, and then the Hermit basically in that Keeper for attraction. And it was this energy of like, there are these energy leaks, and there are these things where stuff kind of falls apart, and there are like these little distortions in our manifestations. And it isn't necessarily anything around us, it's us. It's the things that we choose not to heal. It's the dark corners and recesses of our mind and heart that's too dark for us to do anything about. And what it does is those same influences sort of creep up into our experience in ways that we can attribute to other people projecting onto us. Because again, this is the keeper. So, you've got a fairly spiritual vocabulary. But it's a lot of self stuff. And it's a need for us to work on self stuff. And at the same time, in the Three of Swords, it was like divine feminine energy also working on healing the heart of the collective. So it's the individual heart and the collective heart, which makes sense because the collective is comprised of individuals, right? And then that leads to the erudite and the keeper. Now, the erudite, it's a lot of like Luke's ex tenebris energy, light from darkness. It's like a light born. It reminds me of the star and the Wild Unknown tarot, because sometimes I see the star as this thing that rests in a bed of light or on a bed of light in an abyss of darkness. And it's like once you dive deep enough, you find it. And it comes, I guess, in this contradictory nature because you think that there's only darkness or that it would only get darker. But at some point, it gets brighter. Right? And I was going to say something else, but I forgot. So this get creative in Ascension with Fate, it's almost like it's learning to use tools in a different way, or it's learning to be more open, or to be more creative, to be more innovative in the furthering of our spiritual journey. But it's also with this Ascension card to keep in mind that whatever we do spiritually, it should have some effect on our life, like earthly, right? There should be that sort of flow between the spirit and the earth within us. And I guess the fake card being this, I don't want to say Fabergé egg because I don't know what a Fabergé egg is. I feel like I've said that before. That's not like a, let's see. Hey Siri, what is a Fabergé egg?
A Fabergé egg is a jeweled egg created by the jewelry firm House of Fabergé in St. Petersburg, Russian Empire.
Yeah, that's what I
Shall I
thought.
continue?
Well, I guess this could be jeweled, like Swarovski. I don't know how to pronounce that either. The Christus. See, this is, I think, with this fate card. Oh, there it is again. Manifest fate. And boundaries is under manifest. And ancestors is under boundaries. I feel like ancestors and boundaries and manifest, it gives this energy almost of integrity, but it's integrity of the heart. It's like now as we move forward, we're going to do what our ancestors, our global collective ancestors didn't do, which was consider others and to be considerate and compassionate to others as we move forward instead of having this competition, competitive taking, stealing, uh, pillaging, plundering, looting type of energy, right? But it feels like it's still a surprise or it hasn't yet been determined. And it feels like that's why it's important for Get Creative to be here. And it reminds me of the threads on the hand in Ascension. It's like the tools of old, the practices of old, the philosophies of old have these inherent limitations to them. But if we get creative, it's like we can find a way to sort of work around them. And it's almost like it was this Icarus thing. And it's like Icarus would have been fine if his wings were real, right? Icarus plummeted because the wax melted. Oh, the melting wax, the thing with the cookies. When baking cookies with one cookie sheet, cool it to room temperature between batches. Otherwise, any butter in the batter may melt prematurely and cause thin, uneven cookies. Oh my gosh, it keeps happening. Why does this keep happening to me? I'll say something and it'll trigger something, and then I'll lose it. It's like, and then it's gone. Oh, okay. So I just watched Lauren B. Untitled Tarot's Schumann Resonance. Schumann, the video that she just uploaded recently. I can't remember anything anymore. And she talked about how it was being presented to her as a slinky, sort of the journey of ascension and moving forward, and how sometimes the past catches up to us to be resolved. Schumann, timeline jumps, and retrograde is the video. There you go. And there's something here about if we do something too prematurely, then it can hinder more than it helps. It's like they say to strike while the iron is hot, but depending on what it is that you're crafting or making, you might want it to be a little cooler. Or if you're going into the cooling phase of tempering, then you don't want it to be hot, right? Because it goes through the fire and then the water and the fire and the water and the fire and the water. But it's like if it's all fire, then it's not going to be produced properly. So these watery emotions have their place. And I know that. Also, I feel like there's something else here. I feel like it keeps like popping out and then it'll like subside. I guess the rest we'll figure out. And the stuff that unfolds for me, just like if as it unfolds for you, it unfolds for you. Right? Get creative ascension and fate. Oh, it feels like there is also a little bit of an energy of it is like allowing the world to be rewritten. Because it said in the Ascension card, it's like you've done the work and the world is changing. And that attraction card, it was the energy of like, there is a change coming, although no one seems to see it. And so maybe for me, in the specific context of starting my career, and for me, it makes it like Saturn is in my 10th house right now. Yeah. Right? Hold up. Hold up. I'm pretty sure Saturn is in my 10th house. It starts at like 20 degrees Capricorn. And I know my 11th house is in Aquarius, but I'm pretty sure Saturn is in my 10th right now. Yeah, 16 degrees Aquarius. So after Saturn goes direct, then it'll move into my 11th house from the 10th house, which makes sense. I guess I'm going to start a job and then I'm going to have to make sure I associate myself with the right people and not buy into any weirdness. Anyway, for me, it's like the area of career is really important. I have both Pluto and Saturn in my 10th house right now. Um, Also, for me, Pluto is trining my moon, and Uranus is still conjuncting my rising. So I'm a Taurus rising and moon, but I'm an early Taurus rising and a late Taurus moon, which means that what? Neptune is also sextiling my moon, and some other stuff is going on anyway. Because it's like, at least the feeling last night was like, I don't want to work for a company, or I don't want to work to produce or develop something that could save lives or better lives, but not do that because it's priced so high that people can't even afford it. And for me, I guess it's always been this thing. Maybe it's a trauma or trigger that I need to deal with in some way. And maybe it goes back to boundaries a little bit in some way. But I remember when I was younger, one of my aunts was diagnosed with cancer. And to my knowledge and awareness, she was like the first person in my personal life who got it. And I was not a child, but I was fairly young. Um, and I remember being in the hospital and just like asking myself, like, is it worse to be in a position where you have some knowledge like a doctor? Is it like worse to be the doctor who does everything that they can to save a patient and still lose that patient? Or is it worse to be someone in the room that can't do anything to help that patient? Like, is it worse to feel like you should be able to do something to stop something? Or is it worse to just be powerless? And it was this, I guess, question that I've never been able to answer. And it's not really a question that has an answer, but it's something that sort of plagues me, I guess, every time I get closer to actually, or whenever I think about like working in the pharmaceutical industry. And so maybe it plays on a little bit of that question, like, is it at least better for the medicine to produce so that somebody can use it? And it's like, I guess, yeah, it's better than no one being able to use it. But at the same time, like, it should be like affordable and available to be used, I believe. I don't believe in capitalizing off of pain. Um, and so maybe the change is that like that industry here is already like there are these changes that are already being set in motion. So that again, by the time I really sort of like establish myself in it, or I work in it long enough to know if I want to stay there or go on to something else, like those changes will already be happening. And it's not to say as well that maybe I'm not supposed to that I'm not supposed to already be positioned for some changes to start taking place. And so I can keep comfortably flowing in that direction while still being like aware of the things that I don't like. But like, because every time I've thought about it, or I've thought about it a few times before, and I was like, well, I can go to a different country and like where maybe it's not as big of a deal. But I also don't feel like it's for me to like leave either. Because I believe that we are all more powerful than we know. We are these dominoes that set things in motion in ways that we don't even comprehend just by the light that we hold. And the light that we hold can be however dim or however bright or whatever color. It's the power of our belief. And like I said, what, a few weeks ago or a week ago, it's not for me to like pull my energy out of something at the first sign of like disagreement or challenge or whatever. And so I feel like that energy is also here. Maybe that's the endeavor for me. I was gonna say, like, I wonder if Miss Remy Healings is gonna like look into the hatching of these eggs. But I also know that she isn't really the type to like push or pry or force. And when she's moved to, that's when she reads. So it's that wait and see card keeps coming out anyway. So that makes me feel better. I'm still like, but it's fine. I'm glad I did this today. All right. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I wish you all the best in your endeavor. And I am going to get that final card. I kind of want to do some calendarmancy, some chronomancy, uh, and go through all the days that I've already done. I might just do that myself personally. Or maybe I'll post it. And then, oh, if I had a Discord server, that could be like a thing. I might make one and just have like a chronomancy thing. Because I have all of the days in here. So I could always just like shuffle them up, pick one, and then like watch the videos from that day or the piece of the video that's about that day, and then see how it's applying in the moment, see if it's relevant that day. And by the end of the year, I'll have a whole year. So I am going to keep doing this. Okay. I'm like, ooh, that video was like 3 hours long. Ooh, I think I might actually do that. There is a little part of me that's a little like anal retentive. And I'm like, yeah, but if I shuffle them up, then the days are going to be out of order. And I was like, I could put the days back in order because I kind of like mundane tasks like that, like alphabetizing. Maybe it's because I alphabetized when I was at an impressionable age. So I loved my math teacher. She was amazing. She was awesome. She was so cool. And some days in middle school, I would just stay after school and like hang out with her. I was that kid who liked adults. I'm still that kid who likes people who are older than me, typically more than the people who are about my age, which is fine. Actually, I have a healthy balance now. I have a healthy balance now. But like sometimes she would have me like alphabetize things and like put it away in the file cabinet. And she would talk about me because she'd be like, yeah, like you're over there like alphabetizing things, like talking to yourself, like in your own little world. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, I'm a Pisces sun, so that's what I do. I'm just playing. I didn't say that, but there's something about like tasks that don't require me to think that I'm like I just love, because then it could be like a meditative experience. And so like going through the days, I would actually enjoy that because I'm weird like that. Okay. Final card from the Threads of Fate Oracle cards, Rose or Rose edition, if you're curious. Also on the website, they have a section for cards, like cards where there's imperfections on the box, and you get them like discounted. So that's what this was. And I opened it. I'm like, I don't see any imperfection with the plastic or anything. So I mean, hey, I'll take it. It was like $40 instead of 80, I think, or 70. Okay. Anyway, back to this. If you're curious, check that out. I'm excited to live life more creatively. Don't know what that means, but I'll give it a try. I'll be more creative with my life. I'll be more creative with my ascension. I mean, I guess I'm already in the space of saying yes. And because I've been saying yes, I've been positioned to receive certain things and experience certain things that I otherwise wouldn't have experienced. So that's working out for me. And that's new for me, too. Usually I'm very particular about how I spend my time and where I go, because I like to have an escape plan. Like if I'm not enjoying myself or if I want to leave, I want to be able to leave. And I've been in positions, I've been allowing myself to be in positions more lately where I surrender that control. And things have worked out very nicely. But maybe that's Uranus on my ascendant, making me a little less stubborn. And also Pluto trining my moon, again, making me a little less stubborn. And it's nice. I love it. Okay. The Warrior. I've seen this card recently. Bottom of the deck, transmute. Mm. I feel like there's an energy here that's like your presence in an environment alone is enough to cause certain things to begin to transmute and shift and change. And that's why it's important to not distance yourself or to pull yourself out of something. It was in that boundaries card, 24. It said something. I feel like it was at the top. Yeah. It says most people are not raised with a firm understanding of healthy boundaries and either end up being closed off or allow themselves to be invaded / they become invading of others. So it's this thing where it's like it's important to have boundaries, but it's also important to not be so steely that nothing can affect you. It's not to be like detached or disengaged. And I think a lot of times, or at least I guess I can't speak for anybody but myself. A lot of times I hear like healthy boundaries, I feel like it can be easily taken as like only the side of boundaries that's like distancing yourself, like it's like creating distance or severing connections that are toxic or whatever. I feel like very rarely I get the connotation that healthy boundaries is also like be vulnerable in the spaces where you can be more vulnerable. An unhealthy boundary is when it can also be one that exists in a space where it shouldn't be as high. Right? Healthy boundaries doesn't make us invulnerable, solitary rocks that aren't engaged or connected or caring about anybody. Right? Healthy, it's like it's an appropriate amount. And that with the warrior and transmute, again, it's coming because it's like when you've done your work, it's that individual, collective, individual, quantum entanglement. Or it's just the nature of being an individual in a collective, but it is also the nature of energies to resonate and find like frequencies, especially ones that are sort of grounded deeper or high or higher. And so it's that energy of like to distance yourself, to pull out, to pull away would serve less. So I guess I'll continue and I'll be open and vulnerable and I'll feel things and not be like, "Oh, this is too much." And like that's what like I coached myself through last night because it's like I know it's not for me to be like closed off. It's okay that I feel this. I'm like, man, but I haven't felt this in a while. Like people say that, like, oh, if you're an empath, like you can never like turn that off. And it's like, well, maybe I'm not an empath then, because I definitely had it when I was young, and it definitely got turned off. And sometimes when it comes back, or when I'm in a position of being more sensitive, it's like, oof, like this is a lot. And when it comes to the world, or when it comes to certain things, it's like things that I can't do anything about. And I would say that I don't have control issues, but I don't like being in a position where I can't affect something. Like if someone that I care about is going through something and I can't do anything to help them, I don't like that. And like, is that a control issue? Probably, right? Because it's like I can't control their life any more than they can't control whatever they can't control in their life at that time and point and place. And I know sometimes, like, more so in the past, there would be times when I was so averse to it that like I wouldn't even want to talk to a friend or a family member if they were going through or experiencing something that I couldn't really help them with. But more often than not, like I got over it, right? Because I was like, this is someone that I care about and I can't do anything to help, but they say that my presence is enough and I can do that. And like I'm removed from the situation, right? It's like I'm over here like, "Ooh, your discomfort bothers me." And they're the one like actually in it, right? I don't know. Allow the world to be rewritten. Things are changing in ways that we can't even see necessarily. It's all working out for the better, and sometimes we're going to find ourselves positioned quite keenly and nicely for whatever is happening. And maybe it is for us to be involved. Also, understand the impact of your work and your energy and your presence, and that presence is needed in places and positions. Maybe it busts it up. It's like if the collective frequency is an average, and if you're a 12 at a 10, then you bump it up even higher, right? And you may be like, oh, but I'm one person. Like, there's so many other people. And it's like, yeah, but it would be lower without you. So strap up and get in there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll catch y'all later. Bye.